Anyway, let's talk to Alpha and then Omega and continue on. Quick, quick, quick. Goodbye, I'm not gonna try and pronounce that. Omega has selected a new destination. Our next destination will be Camp Broken Glass. I desire elaboration on the dealings between the Ilsabard contingent and the citizens of Garlemald. The report described the contingent's purpose as the salvation of the local populace. Furthermore, between factions faced a common enemy on the Telefori. Why did they not immediately combine forces for the mutual benefit? Because Garleans. This inconsistency requires closer examination. Brilliant. Initiate teleportation. Okay, sounds good to me. Let's go to Camp Broken Glass. I already got my jacket on, so we won't be too cold. There we go. I was kind of wondering if Alpha would be cold. Teleportation successful. Evaluating immediate environs. A cold weather region by Aetheri standards, but significantly less extreme than a star with ice planet classification. Well, that's for sure. This body should not be unduly impeded. In contrast to Alpha and his uncontrollable shivering, my frame appears highly resistant to low temperatures. That's convenient. Retrieving data. Records indicate that remnants of the contingent force and a number of Imperial citizens yet inhabit this location. We must speak with the representatives from both factions and explore their respective attitudes. Bloop. Proceed. Now they're following me again. Okay. Let's see. Is there a speech bubble to look at? I don't see one. So let's just go ahead and talk to this first person over here. Resistance Delegate. Brilliant. Come to see how things are progressing, have you? Well, actually, I brought this toy for you to talk to. I can't speak for overall strategy, but communication with the locals has become a damn sight easier since Julius and his soldiers stepped in to help. Oh, we still face our fair share of distrust, of course. Some folks even think we're enslaving minds with our foreign magics. When we have Anima to thank for that, putting that idea in their heads. But all things considered, I'd say we're doing pretty well. Establishing an open dialogue was the first big step. Query, you consider this level of progress acceptable? The reality of your efforts falls short of the ideal. If your aim is to provide efficient succor to local populace, then absorbing their numbers into your command structure would be the optimal path, and then you would be just like the Garleans. Oh, I wouldn't want to go that far. We were not looking to take over their nation. If we're to do this the right way, we need to recognize and respect each other's way of life. So while it may not be the easiest solution, I agree that the contingent's slow and steady approach. I'm just happy we're saving lives. That's an interesting approach. Let's go ahead and talk to the other person. This is going to be a Garlean. Oh, they're all the way over here. Can you go in here? Oh no, there's someone around the corner. Yeah, emancipated refugee. Let's see, he's Garlean, right? Yep. A shadow from the past? Yes, I know you from Victor Spoils. If you come to laugh at me, a wretch who chose to lose Lysina and her sister rather than accept your help? The fool. Oh, right, he was one of the guys that was there. That's right. The fool who ended up reliant upon your charity nonetheless. No, not really. Well, perhaps I deserve your derision. I don't know how to say that. My compatriots surely scorn my failed conviction. I've shamed my people and brought dishonor upon my nation. I am no better than a kept beast, my pride sold for a bowl of feed. But my soul, nay, that you shall not have. I've refused to honor offers of a new home. This land is where I belong. You can stay, bro. And this is where I shall remain. You can stay. We're not telling you to leave. Blip, blip. You demonstrate opposition to the contingent's overtures. On what basis do you refuse their cooperation? The data suggests the local populace is struggling to produce the bare minimum of sustenance. Have you some secret strategy for survival, or do your orders compel you to accept your present misfortune? But must I be mocked by a Magitech toy now? No, I have no secret strategy, no binding orders. I but comport myself as any Garlean patriot would, uncompromising, unbending. Blast it all. Once again, this input is unanticipated. Let us move aside and process what we have heard. Okay, let's see, where are we meeting up? Oh, right over here. Accessing and analyzing recorded data. Integration complete. I have evaluated this most recent input and made comparisons to our discoveries in Razadhan. Consistent only to their inconsistency, the responses from both contingent members and Imperial citizen were highly irrational. Conversely, any Omicron considering their predicaments would have echoed my assessment exactly. The divergence from self-evident logic is key. Hypothesis: theological relationship between would-be saviors and suffering populace is another result of the unpredictable nature of mortal hearts. That's pretty accurate. Any property or ability has inherent advantages and disadvantages. Yet never have I encountered such a unique detriment. It appears that those who share your metaphysical capabilities are prone to complicating simple cognitive processes. Well, ain't that the truth? An undesirable quality. I will, however, persist in furthering my understanding of the subject. Query. Prior to formulating our next step, I wish to know, who is this Lysina the Imperial mentioned? She did, bro. Acknowledged. To summarize, insufficient data on foreign culture resulted in inadvisable and ultimately fatal action. Well, that's a way to put it. I witnessed such self-destructive behavior during the course of our planetary conquests. Overwhelmed enemies' forces would voluntarily withdraw into perilous regions, leading to a succession of inevitable losses. Tangential data request. I wish to learn about burial customs. The practice has ever seemed nonsensical with new data, but new data suggests it arises from the same source as the cognitive complications. Yeah? Take me to this Lysina's burial site. It may aid me in Omega? Emergency delivery system compromised. Core temperature critically low. Okay. Beep. Warning. Imminent heating required. Request. Apply friction to outer frame. Oh, we gotta pet him. Rub some warmth back into the frame. We got a pet Omega. Boop, bleep. Temperature nominal. Energy levels stabilizing. That's a really easy way to warm it up. The creators of this model must have experienced impaired cognitive reason during the design process. Upon our return, I will request additional climate shielding, as well as an accurate temperature sensor array. This will not affect my combat capabilities, but should improve my basic survival rate. Reaffirming our sub-destination. In which direction will we find Victor's spoils? East. Blip. Acknowledged. It's gonna be a pretty long trek for them. Alpha, you are to remain in close proximity, close enough to envelop me in your feathers. You are permitted to carry me on your back if you so choose. Okay, let's head on over to Victor's spoils and check out Lysina's and her sister's burial site. What a lovely thought to remember. That's still super imposing. Anyway, let's go ahead and talk to Alpha and Omega, and looks like there's a First Legion soldier. Let's talk to him first. Quick. Let's talk to him first. Who dis? ... What, did he know Lucina? Bloop. Deceptively deep snowdrift almost defeated me, but we have successfully arrived at the location you indicated. Bloop. Caution advised. An unknown individual appears to be investigating the object of my interest. You're Eorzea's champion, aren't you? Brilliant Mason. Oh, I never introduced myself, did I? I am Manus, a soldier of the First Legion and comrade of Julius. Perhaps you remember me from Terratim. We spoke about collecting ceruleum, and again later on, after Lord Quintus had passed. I don't remember him. Manius, explanation requested. What is the reason for your presence here? That must be the tiniest magic weapon no. This is just an oddly shaped communicator, isn't it? Sure. In any case, I have nothing worthy to report. I heard that the sisters who used to live in my sector were buried here, so I thought I'd come and pay my respects. Alphanode and Alizade told me the story, complete with the profuse apologies, though they were adamant that no amount of remorse could erase the tragedy of what came to pass. Not that my fellow soldiers and I are in any place to judge. We were manipulated, fooled into starting an insurrection which led to countless deaths among our own countrymen. Objection. The casualties incurred through your infighting are distinct from those caused by the Ilsabard contingent. To restate, you are justified in seeking restitution from the contingent for causing the deaths of Lucina and her sister. Retaliation for damages sustained is also logical progression. Not really. That wasn't their fault. I can deduce 2 reasons why you do not initiate hostilities with Berillion and her allies. 1. You judge your remaining forces too weakened to contend effectively with the contingent. 2. Your emotions are complicating the issue. I think number 2 is probably more likely. Tell me, which of these is correct? Well, when you lay it out like that... I'm afraid my answer isn't like to win me any medals, so would you mind keeping this to yourself? There's the unspoken thought that we're outmatched on the battlefield, certainly, but the real reason I'm not demanding restitution has little to do with weighing the odds. The simple truth is, I'm so caught up with the simple survival, I've no strength to spare for past grievances. The same goes for avenging my comrades we've lost, be that my brothers in arms or Lord Quintus himself. Although it seems everyone has an opinion about the manner of his passing. Some say he should have fought until the end, that he abandoned us to the enemy. Others praise him for taking the full burden of responsibility and freeing us to walk our own path. I don't know who's right and who's wrong, but I'm inclined to side with the latter. He gave us the choice of freedom, and that's the choice I made. I could cry and rant and rage, But what would be the point? I'll save my energy for worrying about my next meal, my next task. I need to focus on the ones left behind, on making some kind of life for my comrades and me. And if I need to lean on the contingent to do that, then that's what I'll do. Even if their aid comes at a price, I'm willing to pay it. Even amongst your own, there are times when cooperation demands compromise. It would matter that they're outsiders. Besides, I think I could grow to like Alphinaud and Alizé. They've reached out to us with kindness and compassion from the very beginning. Summation. Your desire to survive, even should it mean allying with the contingent, was a feeling you already harbored. That your side had committed worse atrocities was the logic you invented later to justify your reasoning. Well, yeah, I guess you could put it that way. Blunt, but accurate, I suppose. The heart is honest about what it wants, even if the mind takes a while to reconcile the decision. Well, this has been oddly cathartic, but I must return to my duties. There are wild beasts to cull, watchfires to light, supplies to transport. Even without an emperor, there is no rest for an imperial. Be well and stay safe. Well, that was interesting. Blip. Upon review of recent input, I have arrived at an unexpected conclusion. I have been formulating my assessments on the premise that it was man who commanded the strength of his heart, but the data suggests the opposite is true. Well, that's a pretty good conclusion you came to. The surge of spirit, of feelings, of emotions can tangle your thoughts to such a degree that even control over your own behavior is compromised. It seems a most counterproductive specification. True. This also explains why my interactions with more mortal subjects have produced more confusion than clarification. It presents a formidable barrier to understanding. Talk to Alpha and Omega. Quick. My earlier hypothesis has been borne out. The suboptimal operation being conducted here is the result of emotionally compromised reasoning. I am ready to progress to my third and final query. I would learn more about those referred to as ancients. It is clear that this group was a crucial factor to the final days, but the information contained in the report was insufficient to form an overview. Well, I can take you over to Amarad, but you need to be able to cross the rift. They are technically immaterial possessions, so I could take them to the first. I said immaterial. They're material possessions. The Loprits are creations of the ancients and are said to maintain repositories of their knowledge. By my calculations, the base of these moon dwellers will provide the best source of additional information. Teleport us to their burrow, Berlian, preferably before my battery freezes over. Okay, sure, we can go to Space Burrow. Yep, Omega's fascinated. Quick! Your teleportation spell was successful. We appear to have arrived at the location described as Bestways Burrow. An inspection of the technology in use here would give me detailed insight into the ancients and their civilization. This body, however, lacks my previous frame's advanced observational functionality. I will require external assistance. No, it can't be. was you? Oh, brilliant. I've missed you so. What have you brought with you? This soft, feathery vision? We have been outfluffed. We've been outfluffed. That's not the reaction I expected. We've been outfluffed. Pack up the moon, it's all over. Why bother with burrow building bunnies when you could walk around with this adorable avian engineer? Just bake me into a pie and be done with it. Okay, Growing Way. Maybe that sounds like something Nothing Way would say. Inspect our inventions. Wait, so you're not done with us? No. I wasn't truly worried, of course, and I certainly wasn't about to roll myself into dough and drive into Cooking Way's new oven. Ahem. If a technological breakdown is what you need, then I am your Lobrit. As the resident atmospheric regulation expert, I can field any question or query you might care to pose. Acceptable. I will employ this being to guide me around the facility. Oh, so I don't have to do it? Good. Your presence is not mandatory. Even locked within my current chassis, I am still an autonomous construct that has endured hundreds of your life cycles. I am capable of completing this simple objective alone. Okay, sounds good to me. Is Alpha gonna go with him? Yeah. Then where am I going? Okay, they're just gonna cut away. That is a little bit cheap. Then again, we kind of already did a tour during MSQ, so it's kind of a bit. It kind of would be a bit odd for us to go and do another tour. Objective complete. Was the tour helpful? What happened to Growing Way? Yeah. As after my 15th question, his response began to suffer noticeable delays. By that stage, we had reviewed a representative cross-section of Lopert engineering, thus I deemed it necessary to retain his company. Unnecessary, okay. Conclusion. Extrapolating from the fraction of technology on display, the full spectrum of the ancients' advancements was, at minimum, equivalent to a level 4 civilization, a fact which demands further investigation. Despite establishing a near-ideal society, these beings nevertheless harbored a weakness which invited self-destruction. In studying them, I stand to gain a greater understanding of Sir's anomalous decision. We're gonna go visit the Watcher. Growing Way informed me that another type of ancient-made entity exists upon this satellite, the one they call the Watcher. I would speak to him. Okay, we can head on up there. Then conserve your ether. We will ride this Argos to your destination, as you have suggested. I don't think the dog is going to be too happy about us riding, of them riding on. Anyway, let's head on up. And let's see, where's the exit again? This way? Yes. And let's head on over to the Watcher. I guess we gotta talk to Omega out here. Where are they? Oh, they're right next to Argos. Quick. Bloop. Impedance detected. The creature identified as Argos refuses to acknowledge our presence. Hypothesis. Upon our arrival, Growing Way expressed concern that he had been outfluffed. This suggests the existence of a fluff-based hierarchy. Not quite Omega. My station in such a system would be predictably low, but Argos is adamant in ignoring even Alpha. Its fluffiness level is impossible to gauge. Not quite. Argos turns to you with an impassive gaze. It seems you will need to intervene. Just think of them as luggage. You're the fluffiest of them all, dear Argos. Sure, let's do that. Argos gives you an exacerbated snort before motioning to his back. It seems you have permission to climb aboard. Bloop. You have secured that creature's permission. Curious. It is your fluffy ears. I wonder if that changes per race. Fluffy ears which promote such exemplary standing in the hierarchy. Beep. I have allowed myself to become distracted. Let us continue on to the Watcher at once. Alright, let's walk up the steps and enter the Watcher's domain. Wonder what interesting stuff he's gonna have to talk about. Like Alpha. Quick, quick, quick! The Watcher located an estimate of this being's height explains the inconvenient scale of Bestway's burrow. Yep. I was bemused by the arrival of these visitors, but I see they are companions of yours. What a rare thing for my abode to be this crowded. How may I be of service to you? Hello, Watcher. My purpose here is to learn about the ancients. I would know of their deeds, their philosophies, the very nature of their hearts. I would understand why the final days were visited upon my home star. A worthy endeavor, but there is another better suited to assisting you with that task. Perhaps you might favor us with a tale or two of the ancients you met during your travels, Beryllian. My fragmented memories would be a pale substitute indeed for the clarity of your more recent experiences. Well, he's not wrong. Yes, I can envision every detail. Your meeting with Vana and Emmett Selk and Hythlodaeus. The sorrow and determination of Hermes. I am a creation of Hydaelyn, and as such, I believed the age of the ancients would fade and be forgotten. Yet knowing their memory lives so vividly within you, it brings me great joy. I pray you keep them close to your heart. Oh, don't worry, I'm still gonna remember. I mean, Emmett told me to. At the time of your journey to the past, the one whose essence I embody would have been a scholar at Anidur. A shame. Had you reason to go there, perhaps you might have met. As a man of learning, he was firm friends with Vana. They spent long hours trading theories, or debating the law of the universe. I remember joining her faction as the final days bore down upon us, yet of the events surrounding that tragedy, I recall precious little. Hydaelyn wished for the people of your age to decide their own path, and thus I suspect my recollection was limited by design. Yet even she could not cut away one persistent memory. I feel most distinctly his sadness at what was to come to pass, that in becoming Hydaelyn's heart, Vana would forever stand apart from the people she so loved. If she were so resolved in her convictions, then he, too, would share her sleepless vigil over the future yet to unfold. Thus was the vow he made to Vana as her transformation took hold. His fervent wish must have reached her in some fashion, for though his life was drained away by the summoning, he was reborn with a new form and new purpose, when I awoke as the Watcher of the Moon. And you heard, Brillian. You felt. You thought. You loved. You laughed. And in seizing the future for yourself, have you brought full circle the saga which Vana began. What you accomplished was no divine miracle. It was but the beacon of hope, passed down from one generation to the next. A succession of wishes and prayers reshaping the star into the world we knew you deserved. You have our deepest gratitude. I thank you not only as myself, but as the man I once was, and on behalf of those who devoted themselves to Vana's vision. That's nice. Bloop, bloop. I understand the facts of your story, Brillian, but not how you have chosen to process them. On what grounds do you speak of Vana with such fondness? By sundering the world, she ultimately guided your kind to victory, yet in doing so caused irreparable damage to its individual members. The full scale of that act is beyond calculation. It is evident, however, that it resulted in a protracted period of suboptimal existence for Emet-Selch and his brethren. Query: if the survival of your kind is the deciding factor in your evaluation, then should you not also admire Hermes and his decision to subject man to a trial, forcing you to change or perish, as was the fate of countless civilizations before you? From my perspective, this determination was similar to that of the Omicron's ancestors, those who first began trading flesh for machine so that our people might stand against the onslaught of aggression from other races. It was an unprecedented attempt, accompanied by much failure and sacrifice. Their early experiments were crude, primitive. Had they not made those first advances, however, we would have remained vulnerable to our environment. The violence would have utterly consumed us. And what of Emet-Selch himself? Judging by your retelling, he was a benevolent ally, saddened with tragic fate. Yet, I remember the years when my instruments fed me data from events across the entire star. During that time, I witnessed his Asian engineer multiple instances of cataclysmic strife. These calamities, as you know them, were responsible for planet-wide destruction. A man whose endgame relied upon the extinction of all modern mortals must, by definition, be your worst enemy. Well, he was in Shadowbringers. I require an answer. As being of heart and soul, how do you classify each of your pivotal figures? From your perspective, which of them was most justified in their actions? Are they going to make me choose? Yeah, they're going to make me choose. They're all justified in their own way. Oh, that's kind of boring. Vana, Hermes, Emma. None of them were. The thing is, if none of them... Let's see. We are here today because of the decisions of people made in the past. So judging them and saying that one individual is wrong would be saying that this version of our existence is wrong. So I'm going to say that they were all justified. I think I understand. You seek a definitive answer, yet based on our experiences, Brilliant and I have developed very different opinions. In the same fashion, you are free to form your own thoughts on the matter. Do not be so swift to consider them without merit. I do not have my own thoughts on the matter. I assess each situation with the same logic pathways available to every Omicron. Even if 1,000 Omicrons were asked to analyze the same event, they would all return the same result. Regardless of individual experience, there is no strength to be found in fractured reasoning, except for Sir, who seemed to do his own thing. Nonetheless, I find your input valuable, recording data alongside interview results. This concludes my investigation into the incomplete elements of the final day's report. I will reanalyze the accumulated information and examine the factors which led to Sir's incomprehensible decision. Doop. Let us return to Thomazine. Okay, sounds good to me. Head back and wrap this up. Oh, not gonna teleport me there. I need to go to Aporia, right? Yeah, let's go to Aporia. And then fly on down. I'm gonna take the elevators to see if it's any faster. Well, the thing is, since I end up accidentally touching the ground, it ends up being slower. Only slightly, though? No, because this black screen is gonna end up making it pretty much even. Oh, right, we're back. Let's talk to everyone and talk to Biggs. Quick, quick! Bip. You had a fruitful trip, I hope. I am absolutely bursting to ask you about your experiences with Omega, but I don't wish to be a pest. I will swallow my questions for now, and maintain my academic decorum. Besides, it seems our engineering friends are in a hurry to leave. Brilliant. I wasn't sure you'd be back in time. Ah, there you are, right at the last moment. Your journey with Omega was properly educational, I hope. We'd planned to ask you all about it, and the mystery transmission besides, but I'm afraid something urgent has come up. Of course it has. Seems one of our Ironworks associates has found up a job elsewhere, and Jesse needs Wedge and me to rush in to lend a hand. There's an airship already waiting for us and out in the harbor. In fact, do you think you could escort us over there and talk as we walk? Blip. Acceptable. I am fully capable of speech during ambulation. I figured you might be. Right. Let's get a move on then. Oh, we gotta head back out? Are they gonna teleport us? Okay, it's gonna be a cutscene. That works. So, you've cleared up all those points of confusion then? I had mistakenly classified your intangible heart as ability of some kind. An uncanny power that Omicrons could neither learn nor even measure. Even now, its full nature yet eludes my comprehension. Based upon our investigations, however, I have decided to alter my definition. A phenomenon which influences one's interpretation of reality. I guess that works. That is as close to an answer as I have found. Oh, okay. It stopped auto-advancing. According to Sir's actions upon meeting Meteon, strongly indicate the presence of a heart. Sir did not follow the routine logic, but formulated an independent assessment based upon the reality it perceived. It felt that the best recourse for the Omicrons was to cease their expansion and terminate all functions. That's an interesting interpretation. Well, here's our ship. Aye, we need to be going, but first, I'll hold you to your bargain, Omega. It's time you told us what the transmission from the flight logs. Acknowledged. I will uphold the terms of our agreement. The recording salvage from the Ragnarok was a simple one. The message is so basic, in fact, that the time spent listening to it may result in net loss of value. Shall I continue? Now you're just teasing. Tell us the message already. Probably like live or something. Acknowledged. Converting dialect code to local language. Especially since it started playing Close the Distance. To whomever receives this message out there in the vast reaches of the cosmos. To someone, I hope, who looks up to the stars with the same wistful gaze as mine. To you I say, forge ahead. May all our tomorrows be blessed with joy. This message has no designated recipient. It lacks purpose. The concept of joy is overly abstract. The vocal supplication to manifest said joy is unrealistic in its optimism. Yet, based upon their expression, my assessment of the transmission's value conflicts with that apparent impact. And still, I fail to understand you, sir. Your heart still confuses me. Was termination of everything the correct course? How did you arrive at this conclusion? It defies all my attempts at reasoning. But as I was designed to evolve, if I continue to learn, the probability that I eventually comprehend this phenomenon is greater than 0. So I will put the dilemma of your decision aside for now. And continue my existence upon this distant star. As I dwell among these many life forms, so will I continue to piece together the complete shape of their mortal hearts. I must document their progress. Oh, let's talk to Alpha and then wrap things up by talking to Omega. Quick. Your contribution to my education is appreciated, Brilliant. Indeed, I have amassed a satisfying quantity of valuable data. Now that our negotiated business is complete, however, Alpha and I will return to traveling the world. Drawing on recent experience, I am confident we can expand the radius of our ventures by a significant margin. We need not limit ourselves to Eorzea. I am now familiar with Charlian and Ratzadan, and would also like to revisit the freezing climes of Garlemald. And I like to instruct Biggs and Wedge to upgrade my climate shielding. Boop. I will reroute my request to Deputy President Jesse. Yeah, like she's gonna be okay with that. Engaging ambulation and parting salutations. Farewell, Brilliant. Well, goodbye, Alpha and Omega. Alpha gives a vigorous shake and draws forth a scrap of paper from under his wing. Huh? Queh? It seems he wants you to have it. Perhaps this is a way of thanking you? Oh, okay. Flow together. Nice. Boop. Swiftly, Alpha. The road is long and we have barely begun our journey. Well, that was cool. We're able to spend some more time with Alpha and Omega and contemplate our existence, you know, normal Endwalker stuff.